Each lawn is different. Therefore, we have the right solution for any demand. From the powerful lawnmower with lithium-ion battery to accurate grass shears that suit the hand perfectly, through to useful accessories. All our products are perfectly thought out and particularly easy to use to make sure that your lawn is always the most beautiful. Gardena.
Hello and welcome to Garden Time with Serdar Arapoğlu. My name's Sue Ghazi. Hi there, Serdar. How are you this week?
Thank you. I'm very well, thank you.
And today I believe we're going to be talking about artificial grass.
Yes, we choose different subject today.
Yeah.
And we decide to do something which is this weather, something is not going to need water.
Well, exactly. I mean, looking at some of the grass out on the roundabouts locally, a lot of it has dried up, hasn't it? And no matter how much water they give the grass in this weather, once it's burned, it's very difficult to get it green again, isn't it?
Problem is the roundabout because they have to water it the daytime.
Yeah.
Which is we always say not water the hot time of the grass.
Yeah.
So I think this is something we should to say about this as well. They have to arrange something someone afternoon after 6 or 5 o'clock, someone to water this grasses that time, because if they water that time, it's going to be big difference.
That's it, because of course when they're pouring all the water onto the grass during the day in these temperatures, because we're seeing about 38, 40 degrees at the moment, the grass is actually being scorched, isn't it, by the sun?
Straight away they will be fungus.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it?
They know
really?
that as well.
Really?
Yeah, they know that as well, but still, because they have no choice at the moment.
Yeah.
I think they have to make them the program, and after 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, they can water it. It's going to be much better.
Yeah, I'm sure it will.
But end of the day, of course, some areas we start to see in some roundabouts, they started doing the artificial grass.
Oh, no, I've noticed 1 or 2 of those, and they look really good, don't they?
And this is what we've been saying all these years until now. Lay down the artificial grass for roundabouts.
Yeah.
You don't need to be real grass there because, as you said, water, temperature, you have to make time for it to water at that time, which is not okay for the worker.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean it looks so natural nowadays as well, doesn't it?
They look nice. Nice. Okay, we start to talk about artificial grass.
Yeah.
We have 2 examples today in studio.
Yeah.
And one of them 2-color one, and one of them is the green one.
Yeah.
Of course, 2-color one, as we can see, is the more natural looking.
Yes.
And some garden lovers, they prefer the more green ones.
The green ones, yeah.
Of course, there is different type as well, but this 2 is the most popular one.
It's the most popular.
Yeah. Artificial grass is easy to work on it. What you need to do, if it's the soil area, first of all, we have to start with the weed killer. We have to kill all the weeds. And of course, when we even using the weed killers, we have to use the one is affecting the weed seeds as well.
That's important, isn't it? Because I mean, if you've got the seeds still underneath, they're going to try and get through, aren't they?
Yes, and they already have holes. Some of them, the breathing holes, and they can always get through. Yeah. And if we spray from the beginning of the job, this is the right things to start with the job. And of course, gravelin, second membrane, very good quality membrane.
Yes.
And I suggest to you to, if you're gonna put under the artificial grass membrane, put a double one.
Why would you use membrane, Serdar? Is that to keep the weeds down? So that's going to help us with the weed problem.
That's not give the chance at all to weeds come through.
I see.
And if you double membrane you put, even better. After membrane, of course, you can put the gravel. The one is the small one, very small gravel.
Yeah, just a fine one.
Yeah, that's the fine one. The reason is the small gravel, Later, when you walk on the artificial grass, that's give that softness for you. That's fine. So, thin gravel, small gravel is important. Of course, after gravel, pushing with the cylinder, pushing very well with the machine.
Yeah.
To make sure settle down. Of course, water in it a couple times and push it again to make sure the job done very properly. And have to be flat. Why flat? When you look the grass, you have to be all same level.
Yeah, otherwise you're going to have lumps and bumps, and once I suppose you've put the grass down, it's very difficult to get rid of it then, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's not gonna look very nice either. Yeah. So afterwards, we can lay down the grass. We can always shape it, like not straight lines, curves. We can always do. Depends of your flower beds, of course, and your area. Of course, after lay down the grass, we put on the top yellow sand. Yellow sand.
So this is on top of here?
Yes.
Once you put it down?
On the top of the here, yellow sand.
Yeah.
And brush it. After brush it, especially you put the yellow sand. Yellow sand is making the heavy, and after yellow sand is the more real.
Yeah, I wouldn't have thought of that. So that's sort of keep it firmly in place as well then,
yes.
Is it? I see. Yeah, because I mean, actually looking at the artificial grass, you can see that it's woven rather like a carpet, isn't it?
It is most like carpet. But
so
this one, you see these black ones, when you open it, there is a black one.
Yeah.
The sun is sitting there after the job.
Yeah.
And that's make the artificial grass to not the winds or either anything to take it away. This is how it's.
Yeah, that's it's sort of woven, isn't it, on the back?
And of course there's holes as well. These holes to let the rain to go down.
Yeah.
And why we say in the membrane? Because membrane is letting the water down as well. And these holes helps the rain to go down as well.
Yeah.
So have to be holes.
Yeah.
That's why they did it. Yeah. And after the job, completely different looking.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, it's not the same, is it, without some green areas in the garden? I mean, you know, you see a lot of gardens and maybe they have a lot of concrete or maybe they have a lot of gravel. But when you see something green like that, and especially with a flower border, it just looks so natural.
Yeah.
So and especially with these kind of artificial grass as well. I mean, you can see the quality of them, you know.
This is very good quality.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, so we always, what we're doing, we're taking the picture before the job with the big weeds, of course, and after the job. And this artificial grass job normally is just a couple of days. And a couple of days later, you looked at area and you couldn't believe how big difference it is.
Really? So it's a big transformation.
Exactly, exactly. This is the right word to say. Yeah. And after all this, as you can see, not much job. And not only soil area, you can do this for the concrete bases as well.
So, I mean, you wouldn't have to put it where there's been a lawn before. If you've got like a concrete area, you could actually turn it into a lawned area. Well, that's a good idea,
You only use the bigger one, not the thinner one.
Yeah.
And of course, and you just put the plastic and stick it there. And it still look nice.
Yeah.
But it's only concrete area, have to be flat again, very clean area.
Yeah.
It looks nice there as well.
That's good. I mean, it can transform it just in a couple of days, can't it? Then?
Yeah. There are so many areas which is the concrete areas, and they didn't do any changes because they were thinking with the concrete, no weeds, no nothing. So they choose from the beginning the concrete, and later they changed mind because concrete is the concrete, you know. And when you lay down the green, it's a bit different.
Yeah. So in your opinion then, what would be the best base for the artificial grass? Would it be somewhere, let's say, that used to be a lawn or a garden, or would it be concrete, or does it not really matter?
What it is, if it's soil, just because, as you can imagine, the cost, we choose the gravel. So, of course, customer is not going to choose the concrete base as well because maybe more safety and quality, but costing more.
I see.
And another things, the reason they choose in the soil area to do the gravel and then artificial grass, with the gravel is softer. So when you walk on it, you can get that feeling that is softer.
It's real, yes. Yeah.
But if you walk on the concrete basis, not that much.
Yeah, it's not going to give as much, maybe, is it?
Yeah, maybe if you choose, there is a bigger one, maybe.
Yeah.
But they're not that much looking nice.
No.
So maybe if you want to make it softer, you can choose the bigger branches one.
I mean, these look so realistic, don't they? I mean, you've got the two-tone grass here, and you can see that it just looks as though it's been mown, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know,
this is the one, is the popular one. This is the one the most we using, and it's softer. Yeah. Very softer. The color is look very live.
Yeah.
And
it does, doesn't it?
Yeah. And when you lay down, this is completely big different.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a big difference even after you've put the sand on it. It's going to look different.
It is, yeah, that's why we're saying the sun is finishing the job.
Yeah, I mean, here you can sort of see the black background, but once you've got the sand on it as well, it's going to be totally realistic.
Yeah, but because we sitting too close for it, and we move it, you know, and that's why. But other hand as well, when you say sun, when you lay down as well, of course it's looking better, it's looking more real.
Yeah. So instead of these artificial grass areas must have quite a lot of advantages over, you know, normal grass. I mean, normal grass, it's beautiful, isn't it, having a lawn, a proper lawn in the garden. But in some instances, it might just not be possible.
No. Of course, yeah, but don't forget, the lawn real is not just looking perfect looking. You smell it. You live it.
Yeah, especially when you've mown it, it does smell nice, doesn't it?
Exactly. So some garden lovers, they can say, no, I don't like artificial grass because I like to feel it. I like to walk on it without shoes. You know, in the daytime, it's not a good idea to walk on this because not burning, but it's hot. It's not like a real grass.
Yes, I mean in summer it's going to take.
There's some heat here.
Yeah, it's going to take all the heat actually, isn't it?
When you touch it, like lunchtime, when you touch the artificial grass, it's hot. Not boiling, but still hot. You can walk on it. It doesn't injure you or anything, but still, I'm saying it's not like real grass. But little bit later, we're going to talk about the points, good points and the bad points of artificial grass. The one of the bad points is because daytime is get heat.
Yes.
And the second, you never feel it.
Yeah.
As we saying about the smell, or you don't cut it, you don't feel that feeling as well, because some garden lovers, they like to cut the grass.
Yeah.
This is some kind of the hobby as well.
That's it. It's like a tradition, isn't it? Yeah.
I enjoy when I cut my lawn. Yeah. So this is the another things. But what is good about the artificial grass? First of all, time. You don't have to spend time for it.
Yeah.
Imagine if you're gonna cut your grass. Summertime, you have to cut your grass at least 2 times a week. 2 times a week. If you're talking about 100 meters square, this means at least 2 hours each of the time, 2-3 hours to cut in the curbs as well with the signature.
That's it. Yeah,
it's gonna be at least 3 hours, 2 hours, maybe some big areas, 4 hours a week.
Yeah.
Just spent for the grass.
Yeah, and that's just cutting it, isn't
just
it?
Cutting it.
Yeah.
Of course, later you're gonna spend time for the spray.
That's it.
Maybe you will say, no, I like my grass natural, and then you end up with the trouble. We already talked about all these other programs.
We did, yes. Yeah.
And you're gonna spend time for the spraying end of the day. If you don't have timer system, you're gonna spend time for the watering as well. If you don't have sprinkle system, you're gonna spend time for the watering by hand as well. This is the worst one, of course.
Yeah.
And second things, watering. The watering, again, if we talk about roughly 100 meters square, at least you need 20 tons a week.
Really, as much as that?
It is.
I suppose it is, isn't it?
Yes.
That's a lot of
So
water.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. So depends what kind of the grass you have. If you have Australian kikuyu grass, less than that. If you have Bermuda or Festuca or seaside,
Yeah.
you need to spend more water, of course. And then water, you're gonna save your water. You can save your water for your fruit trees. You can save your water for the flowers.
Yes.
You can save your water these days for yourself. There is so many houses at the moment. It's been days and days, 15 days, 20 days, they didn't get any water.
That's it, because I mean, we're almost sort of in a drought situation in Cyprus for most of the time, and this winter we haven't had much water anyway. So I mean,
We're going to have a very hard time.
this would save on, you know, all the watering problems, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So no watering. And of course, another things we're going to talk to one of the most important costs. Watering is the money. Spraying is the money. Cutting your grass, you need a lawnmower. You need a tools. All this. If it's petrol, you need a petrol regularly for your grass mower. If it's electric, still you're spending something. Maybe you don't see it, but still you spend something for energy, for everything. So cost. With this artificial grass, is only cost you when you do it.
Yeah.
You can brush this to clean it.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually, Serdar, how do you clean it? Because I read somewhere that someone actually used their Hoover on it. Is that right or
It's the
not?
best one.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
It's the best one. Because if it's the small area, you don't need the garden Hoover. But if it's just the large one, large area, you will need garden Hoover, yes.
Yeah, just to sort of keep all the dust at bay, because of course it does get very dusty here, doesn't it?
And of course, garden Hoover, you don't use it only for artificial grass. You can use it all over around your garden.
Yeah.
If there are some balconies, you can use it there. Even the soil area, there's a lots of leads. You can get it with the garden Hoover.
Yeah, so that's a good idea.
This is the tools you can use for the artificial grass. But if you don't want to use it, the garden Hoover, you can just get the classic, the brush for the outside. The hard branches they have.
Yeah.
You can
just give it a good brush.
Exactly. Or with the high pressure water, because you're not gonna push it too much and take the sun away.
Yeah.
Just touch it with the water, is clean it as well.
Oh, that's good.
That's another way you can clean it. But the easiest and the cheapest is the brush.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it is a good idea as well, maybe for more elderly people as well, isn't it? You know, that's a good advantage. Or, I mean, a lot of people are maybe here for only 3, 4, even 6 months of the year. So, you know, while they're away, you know, back in their own country, it doesn't need any maintenance.
You touch very good point, Sue.
You know,
this is one of the big reason you could have the artificial grass in your garden.
Yeah.
If we are talking about the holidays houses.
That's right. Yes.
Of course, you mentioned to me before the program, you've been in England and you miss the all everywhere is green. But when you leave the country here and you go back and maybe you come couple times a year.
Yes.
And you cannot leave the grass just there, and
of course,
but you can leave this one.
Yeah, that's it. You don't have to rely on someone to actually have to come and cut it and water it and do all the jobs on it.
Yeah.
You know, once you've got your artificial lawn down, that's it, isn't it?
Even if you don't brush it, even if you don't do anything for it, and you come back 6 months later, only more than normal leaves you're gonna put, and a little bit more dust you're gonna put on.
Yeah.
Half an hour time, 1 hour time, you will look, you brush it, and it's look brand new. That much simple is that.
Yeah.
So that's why we saying that's why artificial grass.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Of course, when you're choosing the artificial grass, you can choose the good quality ones as well.
Of course, yeah.
There is some Chinese or other things, because if it's the plastic is not good quality, that affected your health as well. So this is not good. So artificial grass, because sometimes you might lay down on it.
Yeah.
You leave your children to play on it. This is all kind of the points you have to lay down on the table and just to choose the right ones.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it, you may as well use, you know, the best quality, and then you can, you know, you can forget about it. You don't need to replace it in a couple of years or so. You know,
maybe
it's going to last,
in Europe,
isn't it?
in Europe it's easier because temperature 20, 25 summertime, but here at 45, 50, so it have to be quality. Otherwise, later you're gonna just touch this, is gonna break in like a biscuit.
That's it. With the heat, it's just going to crumble, isn't it? You know, so best to get the good quality ones,
good quality.
And you're not going to have any problems then.
Yeah, and like these models, we give 7 years guarantee.
7 years guarantee, and under this sun as well. So that is good quality,
that much
isn't it?
trustable artificial grasses. 7 years guarantee. So again, we always say from the beginning, you have to choose the right product to your job and your garden and everything. And later you don't have trouble, because sometimes you're saying, okay, I enjoy to do this. I like to enjoy with my garden. Garden is the hobby. But later, if you put it in the trouble, I don't think you start to enjoy it. You start to hate it. You start to, when they tell you about the garden, no, we don't want to know about this.
We don't want that, do we?
No,
I mean,
no, we don't want that. We are garden lovers. We are a green people, and that's why we are here to help you to choose the right performance. On our garden center as well, they can always welcome to show them the examples and explain them why this color, why that big or thin, and why again this weed killer, because there is a different weed killer. They have to choose the right weed killer as well.
Well, that's very useful to know, actually, that you know, people can actually go down to Mediterranean Garden Centre, or they can call you.
They can always call.
You,
I was going to say they can always email to us. And but when is the subject artificial grass? Is always better to see your eyes and face to face, because this is kind of the subject. You have to see it, you have to touch it, you have to understand better.
I mean, maybe as well, it might be a good idea for you to actually go and have a look to see where it's going to be used. You know, it might make a difference perhaps in which products could be used.
Of course, there are so many calls always to telling us how we can get the price and everything. They can always measure it. And always the grass is 4 meter wide, and the longest is the 20 meter.
Right.
So
I suppose it's a bit like buying a carpet in a way, isn't it?
I was going to say so. So when you do the measurement and lay down the garden, if you don't want to waste the artificial grass, you have to make sure either it's going to be 8 meter or 4 meter. If it's the same line, you can do 6, and we can always cut the parts and join them together and use the other place. There's a ways we can save the parts as well.
I see. Oh, that's good, isn't it?
You don't just
throw it away.
No,
that's a good
it's
idea.
not like exactly carpet, because carpet you don't join them. You just cut it and as much it is, and that's it. But artificial grass, you can always join them. You can shape it like a band, and then you can take which area is left behind and use the other side of your garden. If there's a small places as well, you can use them for the small places. And of course, you can just shape it. Or if there is some area is look ugly and you want to cover that as well, you can. I see some gardens is left behind, and they just cover the water tanks.
Well, that's a good idea, isn't it? Because, I mean, there's nothing worse than looking at these water tanks that are just sort of painted grey, is there?
Always, you think maybe you put hedging plant to cover it, or some pergolas they do with the wood, and they put climbers on it to cover it. This is another way.
Oh, that's original, especially if you've got some left over, isn't it? You know, it's an original idea, isn't it? Cleaning things up. And of course,
this artificial grass is not only for the laying down. If there is some walls and you want to make it greener, you can cover the walls as well.
Well, that's nice, because I mean it would look quite nice as a background, wouldn't it? You know, you could have climbers, you could have this as the background. It looks nice and green. You know, like we were saying, you know, when you've come from a country where everything is, very green, first thing you notice here, of course, is that it's quite bare in summer.
Yeah.
So, it's nice to have, green lawn and plants and some colour in the garden.
That's what I was always saying. So, our country people, they always looking for the green, and they always looking, and even the little big area. When you tell the people garden, they dreaming about the green. Yeah, they want to make the green areas as well.
Because it doesn't have to be a big lawn, does it? Even
just
if you've got a small area, it's just going to be that.
To print your eye. We're saying that. Yeah, of course, it's not only artificial. Later we're going to talk about as well. At the moment, there is some design we're doing. We're using the decking for the walls as well, and we can always talk about as well later. With the decking, we do wall decoration and the hanging baskets on it with the flower. They look very nice.
Yeah, they're going to look very attractive, aren't they? Yeah.
So we have to stop because when you looked around, especially these areas, all stone walls and nothing else. Yeah. I start to hate it.
Yeah, it's very bare, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So we have to start to do the artificial grass walls or artificial grass hedging. Also is coming now out as well.
It's a good idea.
Or we can use even the deckings to do the walls, to do the fence. And with the decking defense, we can always put the baskets with the hanging flowers. Yeah. It's look very nice.
So that's going to look very attractive. Well, thank you very much, Serdar, for coming into the studio and for bringing these examples in with you. And thanks for explaining to everyone, the good points and maybe the not so good points. But we know that we can always come and see you at Mediterranean Garden Centre and, have some hints and tips and advice. Yeah,
they're very welcome. This is very serious subject to think. Yeah. So if they need any advice, we are here. Yeah. Thank you.
So thank you very much for this week, and we hope to see you next week in the studio.
Goodbye again.
Goodbye and happy gardening for this week.
Why are Gardena cutting tools so reliable and long-lasting? Why are they so comfortable to use? Because Gardena tools' quality and perfect form are constructed by people who love gardening themselves and who know just what our customers want. Because their innovative ideas are put into practice with the best materials and the most up-to-date production techniques. Because we make high-quality materials even harder and even better. Because we strive for perfection in the production phase, only our best blades go on for further processing. Because we constantly test our blades for precision. Coat them using the most modern methods, thus permanently improving them for easier cutting. Because our precision blades are mounted with the greatest accuracy. And ultimately, because our employees have a trained eye and an intuitive feeling for each of our products. This is how perfect cutting tools are created, produced and tested for many years of tough garden use. They resist blistering sunlight. In tests, our high-quality plastics have to withstand the intensity of 3 years of Australian sunshine. They are left out in the cold, defying temperature shocks from -10 to +60 degrees Celsius. They are constantly in use. Training in the laboratory for a marathon 7,500 meters lawn edging. They are tireless, enduring tests in which the handles are opened and closed 50,000 times and 5,000 cuts in hard, dry beechwood. For the sake of your joints,
they absorb the hard impact of 2,000 lifts and then still have to be able to take a fall or two without complaint. Because this is the use for which our cutting tools have been developed and produced, winning prizes time and again with a 25-year guarantee so that you can enjoy them for years to come. Gardena. Live your garden.